let's begin the share. All right. Enon, I'm sharing the correct one. Yeah.
Yes,
Just make
exactly.
sure. Okay.
Or you
Great.
can share,
All
or
right.
you can share people the projector. Depends on you,
Yep.
Jason. I leave the meeting
Okay.
to you. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much. And again, thank you for being patient while I set that up. It's just like being in the classroom, isn't it? Every day. All right. So today's session is all about how we design learning for each learner. And I've capitalized and bold-faced each on purpose because I want to make sure that I'm meeting the needs of all of my students. And so that is why I am talking about this today, because it's a real passion of mine. And so great. So just a little bit about who I am. This is just some of the things I've done over the past 2.5 decades. I'm currently in China. It's my 5th time being in China. I love living in China, even with some of the challenges of the internet, but I do really love living in China. I have done multiple visits for the IB for school visits. I've conducted well over 75 IB workshops and done lots of different events like this with wonderful professionals such as yourself. And also I have a podcast, and I would love for you to take a listen to that and possibly even be a guest in the future on that. So at the moment, I am the MYP coordinator at the Western Academy of Beijing in Beijing, China. All right. And so this is what I would love for us to talk about today. We're going to explore the perspective of the learner. What is it like to be a learner? Right now, you're a learner. How can we make sure that everyone learns something today? We'll talk about how we can accommodate these learners and their various needs. And then more importantly, discuss how we create personalized learning pathways for our students. And that's not an easy task, but I do think we're all up for the task. And I do think that it is what our current students need, especially as we emerge from a 3-year period that's been very difficult on the entire world. I think it's important that we consider how students learn and how we can facilitate that better to meet their needs. So this is our first interactive slide. So hopefully you're all able to see the interactive slide. I believe it is a text comment type slide. And what I would like for you to do, let's take 2 minutes, and I want you to brainstorm about this question. And that is, what do teachers traditionally do to differentiate their instruction? Okay, so if you can just enter your slide, you should have your own little text box there. You can type, and I'll begin to see, I'll share with you in a moment sort of what I can see, so you can see how this works in the platform. It's really fun, and I can't wait for you to see that. So if you could just please type in your answers for what you think. Let's see, I'm playing around a little bit with it too while we do this. So Inan, am I now sharing the dashboard so you can see what I see as a teacher, correct?
I think nobody is giving Jason any responses.
So far, I don't know what's going on. That's okay. Everyone's learning the new system.
It means, guys, if you're on the students page, you can, okay, so I can see this is a comment type of slide. If you want to make a comment, you need to put your cursor on the slide, any parts you want to comment on, and put a dot first. Yeah.
I see. Thank you.
Jason
I'm learning too.
Thank you.
Classcipe
the first time as well. So he wanted to build it a text type of slide, but he added a comment, but that's okay. So for us, you can put your cursor onto the PPT and click on it to make a dot. Then a text box will appear on your right. You're able to type in it.
All right. So I can expand to start to see what people are saying. Perfect.
Jason, you can click the arrow, the gray arrow button on the bottom right of this, and then you can enlarge it.
Wait, I'm learning with you. Thank you guys. Perfect. So you can see here now, we can see how people have been putting things in. So differentiation and assignments, absolutely. Like designing different types of worksheets, sure. I think that's perfectly fine. They give homework to students who need extra practice. Absolutely. Use of graphic organizers is a really good way to do that. Totally. Extra time or a choice in the way you use time. Different type of different question levels. Good. List of prompts to choose from. Word bank, and then varied workshop levels. Absolutely. These are great ways traditionally that we have used to share that we have used for that. I'm going to go back to the share on the main screen.
So Jason, are you sharing the dashboard view? Yes. So if you want to close it, you can close the green arrow. Can you see the double green arrow next to the student's name? Yes. If you. Okay. Wow. Perfect. You are sharing the projector now. So
yes.
Jason, may I ask, are you sharing a desktop? The
yes, I am.
screen you are sharing on Zoom is desktop, right? So
yes,
in this way, no matter which window you go to, students can see everything. So you might as well open the dash. So you might as well present them on what you see as a teacher.
Okay.
But usually, when you are teaching, you can share your screen on this projector, and you can choose what your students you want your students to see. If you don't want them to see everything on the dashboard. But now let's just open the dash on the top right corner, and just our participants can see whatever you see as a teacher.
What they would see as a teacher, right? That sounds great. Are we still able to actually interact with the screen as well, though, Inan? Just I want to make sure everyone
now
can
you are
interact.
on slide number 5.
Yes, which does not have an interactive set. Yep. Okay. So thank you all for your ideas earlier. I do appreciate that. Our idea, the whole point of this is I've been working with students for a long time, but more recently, what I've noticed is that students are able to verbalize their needs to me more than they were previously, especially prior to COVID. They're able to self-advocate. They're able to say, I need this kind of thing to learn better. And so this whole curve here was simply to show we want to include everyone, not just the bell curve, not just in the middle. We want to include students who are on the end with more challenges and the students on the end that need more challenges. And so our idea is that we want to flatten our opportunities to be more fair for our students. And so that is what I'm hoping that we can discuss today. All right. So the bulk of what I want to talk about is something called Universal Design for Learning. Have any of you ever heard of that before? You can use the little react button if you want to do that. Has anyone ever heard of that? Okay. It's okay. It's a relatively new thing for me as well. I think probably I already knew it was there, but I didn't know what it was called. And so Universal Design for Learning is a framework that's based in scientific understanding and insights about how students and people learn and what everyone needs, not just students who have challenges or students who are gifted or students in the middle, everyone, including adults. And this is actually something that was put in place in higher education in the United States. At first, it was being used in universities to engage as many students as possible. And then as it's grown in popularity, it's made its way into more of a K-12 type educational situation. And so there are 3 domains or 3 areas of learning that UDL likes to categorize the way and the why and the what and the how of what we do. So at its most fundamental level, we have engagement, okay, and looking at how to make our students feel purpose and feel motivated. Then our next level is being a little bit more of an agent for themselves, an advocate for themselves, and being able to represent what they're learning. And then finally, the highest level of UDL is using action and expression. So the how of learning. So students knowing how to learn. So if you've come from if you're in an Ivy school and we talk about approaches to learning, the how of learning, the skills of learning, this is what our ultimate goal is to have students who reach that action and expression situation. If I'm going too fast, please, please stop me. So when you see the word engagement, what do you think of? What do you think of when we talk about engagement? I want to later share, I've got the link to this website and to this graphic to show you later, but I've also included some resources in a place later that we're going to interact with. And you can actually click on each of those links in the document, not here on Classcipe. So Inan, I would like for folks to interact with this. So I need to go back to the projector view. Is that correct? So what I would like for you to do, is everyone able to, you just shared that with everyone, didn't you, Inan? Am I making you work too hard? I'm sorry.
No, okay. So
I really want to try it out.
Jason,
Yes.
this slide is not an interactive slide. Yeah, on students and
Oh, it's not
have the option. Yes.
Oh, okay. I thought it was. I'm sorry about that.
It's okay. Yeah,
so let's use the chat function in Zoom to ask people, what do you think? What do you think when you see the word engagement? And we think about how students who maybe have gifted tendencies, at the higher end, or students who face learning challenges. So when you see the word engagement, what does that mean to you? Participation, that's a good one. Active learner, absolutely. Actively learning and being assessed, sure thing. Student paced, thank you. Thank you for that, I appreciate that. Wonderful. Yes, so, and when I look at the UDL guidelines, it breaks it down into 3 categories, which is engagement for access, which is the lowest level. And then the phases of engagement start there. And then access to build, and then access to engagement to internalize. So basically, when we recruit interest as a teacher, we're trying to create an environment in which students do feel they can be interested in what we're doing. That the things that we're creating for them are not just contrived, but they're authentic and they're real world. So we recruit the interest for them to create access into the engagement realm. The next level is to build a sustained effort and persistence. So I think this is an area that's often overlooked because the students at this point in age, it's really, really hard for students to maintain their persistence in many ways, because they'll hit some roadblocks and they'll immediately stop or they'll immediately give up. And so we're trying to build effort and persistence in our students, and that's where the engagement, the next level of the phase, works. And then finally, self-regulation. So being able to know what they need and how to be engaged, what engages them the most. So, oh yes, we have Robin, thank you, working towards a skill or goal. Thank you for that, for adding that to the chat. If everyone could please just add an entry here, you can click on the little recorder button, the little microphone, to leave an audio response, to just simply give your perception of representation. So the what of learning. So how do we use the idea of what we're learning for students, and how can we represent that for them?
Thank you, Jason. Thank you for making this slide interactive for our participants. And here, in order to help the participants to participate in it, guys, you can put this little button and allow the access of your microphone. And you can also record a video, and you can also upload material from your desktop. Yeah, so I am here on the student view page to interact with you. So let me go back to the teacher's page and let me see if someone has already uploaded their response. Okay, So we are waiting for you guys now.
Thank you, Inan. I'm so sorry.
No, don't stop apologizing like a Canadian.
Okay.
Yeah. We really appreciate that despite the internet issue, and Jason is here to contribute this amazing, wonderful session. I can see your PPT slides is really rich. Yeah, we don't mind make this session a little bit longer for our participants to be able to take the most out of it. Yeah.
Great. Thank you for that.
So guys, can I ask you to upload your response here so we can show your audio demonstrated to all the people?
We might need to give a moment so people can record.
Okay, yes. I think, guys, if you are muted, I'm not sure whether you will be able to record. Should be fine, yeah. If you have any questions, just let me know and we can help you. I can help you on the spot. I'm the kind of,
we have some stuff showing up.
Amen.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Yes. So I'm going to play it for you guys now and see what is Yasab's answer. Okay.
I'm just testing the here. So I think, guys, if you are muted, I'm not sure whether you will be able to record.
Okay. I think Yasab just sent up a testing audio. Okay. Here we got the heroes. Oh, I shouldn't be talking because they will record everything I'm talking into.
Yes.
Okay, sorry guys.
When I think of representation as a teacher, I think it comes to my mind that when kids are able to show their learning in any way, like maybe talking about what they've done, or drawing, or illustrating, writing down what are their thoughts. I think that all is representation.
Yeah. Okay, maybe we can just continue. Since Jason is new on Classcipe as well, I think some of, for example, this interactive function is suitable for you to give to students as a homework. You can turn your slides into student pace and they will be able to enter the classroom and leave their audio to whatever homework question you have for them. Yeah.
Perfect. Yes. Thank you. And I think I did that with this slide as well, but don't worry about it. Is this also an upload one? Oh, no, it wasn't. How? That's so funny. Some of them were and some weren't. Okay. So if you can go back to number 9, please, Inan. This is just the last section of the UDL framework. And that is how we use the how of learning. This is the more difficult, complex part of learning. It's, if you'll notice on the map, it's showing that frontal lobe that's been colored in blue. Okay. And it's an option for students to do a physical action or an expression and communication. It gets into the executive functioning. Okay. So if you'll think back to before all of our technical difficulties when we first started, we thought about how we traditionally differentiate for our students. And in many ways, it was things like additional support for their work, maybe extra homework, or a different set of worksheets, which I think is a great start. What I would like to encourage is for us to consider taking it the next step and actually getting to know each student on a much more personal level to truly know where on these scales they fall. Okay. And so, Inan, if you can go to slide 10, please, that would be great. And in slide 10, you'll notice there's one more level at the bottom of the screen, and that is the goal with UDL. And the goal for engagement is that I love this term, expert learners, but expert learners are learners who have purpose and are motivated. Okay. They are able to advocate for themselves. They're able to share what their needs are. Then if you'll look at the next level of representation, these are students who are resourceful and knowledgeable, and they're able to do that on their own in many cases. So this is our goal. This is what our ultimate plan should be. And then finally, when we're truly providing the how of learning, the action, the expression, then students are strategic and goal directed with the way that they approach things. So when we think about expert learners and what they look like to you, because I really love that term, expert learners, could you please think about what that looks like? And I'm even okay if, yes, we've got a highlighted one here. Thank you. So if Enon, if you want to show us that one. Oh, perfect. Yes, they present in different ways. And thank you for that. And I actually think there's a lot to unpack with the presenting in different ways, because it's not only for the learners, it's also for the educators, and being able to present the content and being able to present the activities in a different way so that students are able to access it from one of their angles that we've kind of been looking at here from the UDL. Additionally, I think it's important for teachers to be flexible and flexible enough to provide various opportunities for unpacking their learning and showing their learning. So I have 2 middle school age sons. One of them really loves to talk and loves to share his feelings with everyone. And the other is very quiet. But the one who's quiet loves to take photographs and make videos and things like that. So as his teachers have learned more about him, they're allowing him to share his understanding, his performance of learning in various ways. So he doesn't always have to share through a written task, because that's a struggle for him. But they do allow him to share through photographic galleries or through a video or a podcast he's made. And I think it's important as teachers and educators that we embrace that sort of expert learner behavior. Okay, so we've got a few more examples here. Oh, yes. Oh, perfect. Thank you for that. Definitely. They can lead the learning. They can lead the learning. They're able to share their learning with their other classmates, but also can lead others in their learning. That's wonderful. Thank you so much for that. All right. And then Robin, able to demonstrate their abilities. Yeah, varied ways. Perfect. That's exactly what we were talking about earlier, is being able to look at that in different ways. Fantastic. Thank you guys so much. And I know, look, seriously, I mean, this was not planned, but this is just like a classroom every day, right? Where we experience technical difficulties and not everything goes exactly as planned. However, thank you all for hanging in there and being part of this. Okay, yes, they can explain what they are learning and why. Oh, that's so important. The and why, the purpose of it, and how they can connect it. Absolutely, the transdisciplinary nature of that. Fantastic. Thank you. I'm sure you can see how valuable this kind of interactive resource is through Classcipe, and being able to share that with students is perfect. Okay, so let's go to the next slide if we can, number 11. Thank you all for your input. So speaking of Classcipe, here is when you're planning units or planning activities, these things are already part of the Classcipe family. Okay. And so I don't know how many of you are using Classcipe for your regular daily classroom or your unit level planning. But if you are, when you're creating a task or creating a unit, you're actually asked to click on certain areas of that. And one of them is differentiated instructions. So if you'll look closely, all of these fall within 3 different areas, and that is product, process, or content. Okay, so when we think about the product, what is it the students are going to actually interact with and create? Okay, so having choice in this is extremely important, because I'm looking at that product, tiered products, being able to provide options and choice for students, super important. Process, however, is one of those things that's probably the easiest for us to create, but the hardest for us to deliver. And so it's easy for us to say, oh, we're going to do this. But when it comes to actually giving the instructions and working through the process with the students, it's an area where we can sometimes struggle. And so I think that's an area that we can work on as a team. And then content. So that's where we look at unpacking the various things that we're trying, the various standards or the various learning objectives or the learning needs that we have. Okay. So when we look at these different product, process, and content areas, you can see scaffolding and presentation styles. What are some things you could see that could be added here, especially thinking about the UDL principles we talked about very briefly earlier? Is this one of those we need to click on as well, Enan, to leave a comment?
Oh, this is, yes, this is a comment slide.
Okay. So what you can do is just take your mouse and then click somewhere on the slide, and it will allow you to leave a quick 1 or 2 word comment. If you want to add some comments later, that's perfectly fine. What I would like to do is move on to the next section, if we can, please, Enan, and that is the next page. So there is a link here for us to collaborate through. You can highlight, you can take a picture of the QR code with your phone or device. There's also a shortened URL just below that. And hopefully I did this right. I think it's a slide you can click on and go straight to the link. Does that work?
So Jason, you probably, when you use Classcipe, I mean, your account probably is not a Gmail account. So it may be a Yahoo account or whatever. So currently we are developing the adaptation to different types of accounts. However, it is the most stable for the Gmail account. So sometimes when teachers use their school account and such issues happen. But the adaptation for different types of accounts will be ready in December. Yeah, for here, we can go to the website together if you want me to type in the link, and you can share them.
It looks to me, if you click on the bottom of the screen, does it have the link already included? Oh, it says anonymous link. Oh, okay. Viewing. Do you see at the bottom of your screen there? Of the little near the help button just now, it says browse your website. Does it at the bottom of the screen?
No, that's just not.
I did it wrong. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay.
No. That just means that you have added a website in it, but probably it's a school account email, so the system is not yet being able to recognize that. So I suggest if everyone wants to use Classcipe, use your Gmail account, ended with @
use your Gmail. Okay.
Yeah, for now. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, thank you, Alana.
If you have the link, I can quickly copy paste it to here.
It's already, someone's already put it there for us in the chat. Thank you so much. Community of learners never ceases to amaze me. And so I've created, I mentioned to you earlier that we would have that I left a link for a document for you, and that is included here in this Wakelet. Now you don't have to sign in to use it. You can just, I believe I kept it as where you could use it as a guest. Many of you may have a Wakelet account. You can add this to there. And in this collection, it's shareable, so you can share this with whomever, okay? And probably the #1 organization when we're talking about UDL is an organization called CAST, C-A-S-T. And CAST has the one who developed these guidelines that we mentioned earlier in the presentation. And so you can actually click on the guidelines, and those are clickable links. The PDF has clickable links. You can also, if you click on the progression rubric, that actually opens up a PDF which has a progressive measurement tool to see where your instruction is for your students. Okay, so you can see here there's emerging, proficient, and progressing towards expert practice. So it's considering you as an educator and how you're interacting with the UDL framework. So the very first one under engagement says optimize individual choice and autonomy. And so you can see, okay, emerging practice is when we choose giving a small choice within the framework you've already set up. Proficient is when we allow students to choose from multiple options and to determine what they learn. Okay, that's guided by standards if you're using standards. And then the final one is empowering students to make choices or suggest alternatives. Okay. I have to say, as an educator, when you read this, it's a little frightening to think about allowing that much choice in a classroom. So you have to be very comfortable with your students, and you have to be very comfortable with what they might decide. Okay. Obviously, there's various levels of this, but I really hope that you find looking at this really helpful as a way to start guiding your practice into making, for example, your lessons more engaging for all your learners. Okay, so looking at how you can optimize choice, and then of course you can keep going down the rubric. I think this is a really great thing to share with your colleagues, because Katie Novak and Kristen Rodriguez, who designed this, they have several books they've written on the scientific reasoning, the neurological reasoning, why this is important. Okay. And so I encourage you to have a look at this rubric, but also at the one-page guideline. You can make a really big poster from it, an A3 poster or something, and have it up just to sort of remind yourself of allowing students to access things from multiple points in learning. So Inan, thank you for showing us that. There are several other things. There's something there that's a giant red PDF, and it's called Digital Handout. That's directly from Katie Novak, and it's some links to parts of her book, but also how you can get in touch with Dr. Novak or her content producer for CAST. Okay. And it's just a way for you to connect with them if you're interested. You don't have to do this now, but this is meant to be a space that continues to grow. I would really love if you're able to add your resources as you find them to do with how we design learning for each learner. Okay. All right. Can we go back to the presentation, please, Inan? Thank you so much. Perfect. All right. So slide 13 is, I'm so excited to share this one with you because this is my passion. And I don't think this works without the part that we talked about before working. And that is creating inclusive classrooms for students of all levels and different access points. And now I want to face and turn a little bit into the future to think about, okay, we start addressing students at their level. Now, how do schools and educators prepare students with what they need in the future? What kind of pathways are we looking at? And I know this could be an entirely new presentation again on its own, but this is something I actually wrestle with on a daily basis, is how are we preparing students for jobs that we don't even know about at this point? Are they going to be in the metaverse? Are they going to be working with virtual reality? Are they going to be working with machine learning? Are they going to be servicing electric cars? We don't know. And so how do we prepare them for that? And I think the only way we can do that is through skills development. And so I think it's really, really important that we have these discussions in our schools. What do we want our learners to look like? What do we want them to say and do and truly, authentically know as they grow? So I'm really interested to hear what you think. How do we prepare students for the future? So is this one that we can click on, Inan? Click and leave a comment?
Yes.
Okay, Perfect. So if you don't mind, if you could click on the slide and leave a comment, or leave a comment in the chat box about this question. How do we prepare students for the next steps? Yeah.
This is a text type of slide, so you will be able to answer it from your students.
Okay.
And
great. Great. Okay.
Yeah, this is the student end, and you will be able to put in answer here. And as
perfect,
you input your answer as a teacher, we will be able to see it.
Perfect. Yeah. Educators expose students to measured challenges in classroom, and school gives opportunity for students to hold this. Perfect. Yeah. STEM skills, STEAM skills, STEM skills, of course. Growth mindset. Love it. Thank you so much. Wow, these are great. Thank you. Be brave enough to move away from traditional methods of teaching. That's if I could sum everything up, that's exactly what I would say. Thank you so much for saying that and sharing that, everyone. I think the thing that I often say at school, even today, is creating opportunities for safe failure, allowing students an opportunity to fail, but to be able to learn from that, and that there's no consequence in that situation, because in many instances in the real world, we might not have the opportunity to safely fail without there being major consequences. So I think it's important that especially in the development of children, that we create opportunities for students to safely fail. These are amazing. I think what we'll do, Inan, is after everything's over, we'll copy everyone's comments and put them on that so out there so people can see them. So thank you guys so much for that. It's a real passion of mine to think about pathways. I was formerly a career-related program coordinator, where I help students work through grade 11 and 12, and preparing them for future careers. So it's really, really exciting that you all see this as well. Thank you. So, oh, that's a different view. How did you do that? Oh, I see. It's not the tiled view, is it?
Yeah, okay. This is the projector. So I can only, if you do, you can share this screen only, and you can choose. So when you do not want your students to see other responses, you do not want them to see your dashboard, you can show them this projector only. Yeah.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah,
I love that. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, great. Okay. Very cool. Yes. Thank you so much for being a wonderful helper.
No problem. My pleasure.
Your session has been great.
Thanks.
All right. Yes. Thank you. Okay. So we're going to move to almost the last slide. I would love to have a chance to, since it's a small group, for some questions, but if we can move to slide 14, that would be great. Okay. So this is what I really want for you to reflect on, and you don't have to answer this question now. If you want to click on the slide and answer your questions, you can, but what will you do on Monday, if Monday is your first day of school back after a weekend, to make your educational environment more inclusive for all your learners instantly, for all learners, let's see, of all learners, for them instantly. Yes. And then what will you do to make long-term educational systems more responsive to the students in their community to find their pathway? Okay. I was a non-traditional student. I did not enjoy school. And I found that I only really developed a love for learning when I got into college. And so I think that's part of the reason I'm a teacher, is that there was one or two teachers who were able to support me through my journey in middle and high school. And they were the ones who did not do things in a traditional way. They allowed me to access the information through various points and through allowing different modes of sharing my learning. And so I want to encourage all of you. That's what I strive to do every day. And I want to encourage you all to strive for that learning for life idea as well. And so I would really love to hear more about in the future what you're thinking of doing. I think the fact that you're here and we're part of this today says that you're ready or that you're already doing these things. The question becomes, how do we change our organizations and our systems to be more inclusive across the board for our students and our learners? I think that UDL is a great way to start. I didn't add it yet, but there's a Facebook group about UDL that's just starting. And I can share that with you all later if you're interested. But if you just go to, if you're on Facebook and you search for a group called Universal Design for Learning, you can find it quite easily. But it's growing very rapidly because I think a lot of educators see the value in looking at this in a more neurological, scientific way. And so I find that information to be extremely useful, and I refer to it on a daily basis in my own practice, and I encourage you to do that as well. So, do we have any questions? Thank you all for being such flexible learners.
Yeah. This slide is a upload document slide. So if you want to upload your audio, your video, or upload a paragraph, a document, you'll all be able to do this. However, since we are in the middle of the workshop, it will be very difficult for you to record an audio or something. So why don't you just open your camera and unmute yourself and speak something?
Hi, Jason.
Hi.
This is Jyoti here from Jakarta, Indonesia. How do we, it's a challenge to have beat the education system to, when you have the pressure of meeting the curriculum also, and when we say inclusive, being in an international school, you have different kind of students, from those who need language support and those who need a more one-on-one. How do we accommodate all of them?
Perfect question. Yes, I think it's highly contextual to the situation you're in. I think there's two ways to approach it. One is in your daily practice. As a teacher, when you're in your room, you have control over little things throughout the day, micro interactions, right? That can change the entire outlook for a student. So I think it's just allowing, especially if you're very strictly controlled by what's happening, in the system. So it's those micro opportunities to change the experience for a student. So it might be a choice board. It might be something where they have to choose one from each level of product. It could also simply be in your own taught curriculum, your instruction, and how you deliver that. So I think one thing we've learned through COVID is how we can use flipped classroom type access points. And so it might simply be recording your lecture while you're talking, and then having that available for students to listen back to on the bus on their way home or something like that. So it's small incremental changes in your classroom and in your practice. And then on the more systemic end, it's really lobbying the leadership to allow for space and time to make these systemic changes over time. Okay. And that requires innovative leadership vision. So it's not going to be, because we were all experts in education because we all went to school, right? So it's really sometimes difficult to get buy-in from them. So if you can get movement there, great, because then there's a lot, the sky is the limit. But if you can't always get as fast a movement there as you want, it's those micro changes that you make on a daily basis with your students. What happens with that is, in your classroom, you create a grassroots environment where things start to change slowly over time in small bits, but the change is massive. And then all of a sudden, the neighbor next door, the classroom next door who's doing it traditionally, start asking questions. Wait a minute, he couldn't do that before. How is he able to do that now? And then we're able to use that grapevine to share these changes. So I think having that rubric with the UDL practices next to you to look at where in my instruction can I make small changes to allow for choice is probably the biggest one that can happen tomorrow, allowing small choices in how students are able to access the information and how they're able to submit their evidence of learning. So it's those little tiny instances to start with. And I agree with you, the language thing is and the problem with that is sometimes the language challenges mask the learning challenges, and therefore you don't know which one's which. And so that's where it becomes really hard, is how to decode that. I think it starts with the language access, but by using sound learning learning tools, right? So that you can help all students. Honestly, I have my own children have learning challenges, and the practices that we use with them are good for everybody. They're not only good for them, they're good for all my students. And so I find that if we start to adopt this mindset of working with all the students as if they all are individuals, I think it really helps. And so I don't know if that made your question harder or better or what it did.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Great question. I would love to connect with you all. So there's a couple of ways you can do that with me. I'm also on LinkedIn, so I know many of you have connected with me on there. So it's wonderful to connect with you here as well. So thank you. Please feel free to email me. That's my school email. And I'm more than happy to see what we can do to help support each other. And then if you're interested in my Insta is much more just crazy passions I have, but please feel free to connect with me there. And then also on Twitter, for however long Twitter's left on this world, I don't know, given the events of the last week or so, I'm not sure. But anyway, LinkedIn's a good place to connect as well. But I really appreciate everyone being so flexible and understanding of my internet capabilities at the moment. I will let Inan explain how you can access these materials after the workshop, if you don't mind. Is there a way for everyone to still access those things afterwards, Inan?
Yes. So we
Okay.
are not going to end the session. So when
No.
I click end session, then this session is ended. Students cannot join anymore. So however, in Classcipe, this allows teachers and the students to learn and teach asynchronously. So I will not end the session. You guys are all free to use the same link and join this classroom to retrieve these materials. However, I will end this session after 1 week. Yeah, I'm not going to continue the classroom to be open eternally. Yeah. So let me stop sharing my screen. And last, for the purpose of certificates. So guys, please leave your email address and your full name in the chat box. So many times we receive, because in the Facebook group, in the WhatsApp group, when you leave information there are people who didn't really participate in the session, and they come say, oh, this is my email, this is everything. So then we double check, we couldn't really find them in the registrants list. So, and then these people start to complain in the chat saying the certificates is not issued to them. So certificates will be issued to you in 14 working days. So you can come to me if you don't receive it in 2 weeks, but we only issue certificates to whoever stayed to the last minute, and you can put your email address, your full name in the chat box. Yeah, this is the first thing. And the second thing, I want to announce a project we are going to run. It's called Educator Partner Project. In this project, Classcipe is going to coordinate with a group of educators and support them to become bloggers and channel owners on Classcipe platform. You guys are all will be able to be like Jason next year, early in January, to open your own personal workshop on Classcipe. And so Classcipe will promote you using our operation and marketing system to promote you, become an educator influencer. So you can also create your resources, teaching resources, and we will help to promote your teaching resource as well if you publish it into our library. Yeah.